Hi kids! Today we have another storybook for you. It's called Timothy Comes to Stay. Let's get started. Timothy comes to stay. Susan and Luke were sister and brother. Susan was shorter and fatter, and Luke was taller and thinner. Luke played the flute and Susan sang. They lived in Melbourne in a cute little old-fashioned brick house. Their best friend was Timothy Blue, Tim for short. Tim actually had ginger hair, but for some reason everyone called him Mr. Blue. Tim was shorter than Sue and thinner than Luke. He had gone to live in the country. Sometimes Sue and her brother missed Tim very much. They would feel very sad because, like everyone, they want to be close to the ones they love. Then, one day in June, the postman brought them a letter from Timothy Blue. They were very excited. Sue kept pointing at the page. It said that at 12 o'clock tomorrow, Tim was coming to visit them for 2 days. They danced around the kitchen and clapped hands. Sue jumped and Luke laughed. The next day, the day of the visit, they woke up very early. They were 6 hours to wait. Luke played a tune on his flute. They couldn't wait, but the later it got, the better they felt. Then at last it was 12 o'clock. They went to the front gate and looked up and down the road. No Tim. 15 minutes later, still no Tim. Now they started to feel worried. At 1 o'clock, Sue said, "Something must be wrong. Tim always does what he says. He would not change his plan without telling us." "That's true," said Luke. "Let's go to the country in our car to find him." This idea made Sue feel better. They hopped into their orange car and headed along the road towards Tim's place in the country. After driving 29 kilometers, they found Timothy Blue stopped near a river. The bonnet of Tim's car was open and Tim was looking inside. He hadn't seen his friends arrive. He was angry. Tim kicked the car and yelled at it, "You horrible pile of junk!" Sue and Luke had never seen Tim in a rage. He was very upset that his plans had gone wrong. He knew his friends would be waiting and worried. Tim cared about how people felt. You should have seen Timothy's face change when he saw Sue and Luke. He felt so much better right away. They all started talking at once, each saying how worried they had been. Finally, things settled down and Sue asked, "What's wrong with your car?" "I haven't a clue," said Tim. "Let me see. Sometimes I can fix cars," said Sue, peering under the bonnet. "I sure hope you can," said Tim, getting out of Sue's way. After only 2 minutes, She turned and smiled and said, "You're out of petrol." Tim blushed. He didn't want his friends to think that he was so stupid that he didn't know that cars needed petrol. In the excitement of going to Melbourne, Tim had simply forgotten to fill up his tank. "We have a can of petrol in our car," said Luke, opening the boot. "But we'll need a tube to pour it through," said Sue, rolling up some paper. "Don't breathe the fumes," said Tim, worried that he had caused all this trouble. He could smell the fumes 2 meters away. Soon they all arrived in Melbourne. Now the 3 friends were feeling marvelous. Their worries were over. They ran into the house and made a huge pot of tea. They were so glad that at last they would have 2 days together. Okay, kids, that's the end of this story. And the adventure of friends and their joy to see each other. Hope you enjoyed this book. Have a good night. Bye.